Good evening, Club Cult. Fork. Why can't I turn that off? I don't know. I work on pulling us out of purgatory. Welcome, Club Cult. Happy PURRSDAY. Welcome to the Stream the Dreams project. Serena spam incoming. I have to update the board, but we are 2 steps closer to our next TNR goal. Almost Gunther is religiously coming by and eating out of the trap like a gentleman. So I have a feeling he is going to be our first. Our first. Why won't this turn off? Can I do this on mobile? Oh no. Oh no. That's not helpful. That's not helpful. Well, that worked. Why didn't that work up there? Welcome, Cygenix. Welcome to my grumpy face. My what the fuck face. I typed the same thing into my chat box that I typed into my mobile chat box on Twitch. Turn emote only off. And it wouldn't work on here, but it worked on here. And this is an interesting time to be alive, where stream is half controlled from computer and half controlled from the mobile device. The upside down mobile device. That's how really smart people read phones. The charger port on top to capture all the excess energy from the world. I need to go to bed. Speaking of almost Gunther, looks like the real Gunther is still in your executive chair full time. He has. Says, so he's like the Shadow Court boss. He's the real man in charge in the executive chair. Voya just pretends like he's in charge. He's the scapegoat. There's probably a fancier word for that. The fake person in charge versus the real person in charge. But Gunther is fully in charge. He's taken over the executive seat. We love that for him. And Zeke's in bed. Zeke's a sweet boy. Boy is enjoying his Shadow Corp time underneath the Ottoman Empire. He does have that front man energy. He's like the political figure that just he's oh god, what was his name? Zaphod Beetlebrox? I feel like that last part is wrong. He's Zaphod. He's just the pawn. But he's going to invent things that he never even knew, that he never even thought of, that he leached out of his mind. Beetlebrox, not Beetlebrox. I knew that was wrong as I was saying it. Thank you. Beeble, not beetle. Beeble. It's not the tails of the beetle and the barb. Jesus. He's the lead singer when really the drummer is in charge, and Gunther is the drummer. He's percussive with his... Oh, I don't need this anymore. He's percussive with... I don't even know what I was saying. I distracted myself. He's percussive with his, not yawns, not dreams. Snores. Those. I learned during my taxes yesterday that these actually were not a good choice for sticky notes. The ramen noodle sticky notes. You can't read anything that the words are on it. Maybe it just needs a Sharpie, and then it's more bold, but in pen, it's useless. I bought completely useless sticky notes. You just turn the world into ramen noodles, walk around and smack them on people. Not like violently, but humorously. It's like wearing a golf visor. That's very cheap. Happy PURRSDAY. I hope the world has been kind to everyone this week. We're crossing fingers and paws. Get this all blurped up over here, and then we're gonna go see Miss PB. And then Mr. Tank. Mr. Tank gave me a scary today. He had to be in the hospital all day today. Thankfully with my vet, not emergency, but it was scary. He was cheaper than Charlie's pseudo-emergency, though, which I appreciate. Shout out to the time that I skipped stream because Charlie couldn't poop, and I thought something was seriously wrong. Because I don't know how that goes for girl cats, but I know how that goes for boy cats. And I brought her to emergency and spent $1,000 to find out that she's just full of shit. She was just a little constipated. And then, shout out to the time, including that they gave me the wrong dosage of Miralax to give her. And then she shit her brains out. Poor girl. Poor girl. It was effective and it wasn't unsafe, but it was too much. It was too much. And Tank test us. Every once in a while, a sticker graffiti likes to put stickers on lots of stop signs around town. I enjoy when I see those. It gives me a nice little distractible, like, therapeutic moment when stopping at a stop sign. What is this? It's the really smart, elevated people of the world that are doing that, so people actually stop at stop signs. There's a method to the madness. I love that that still exists in the world of social media, now that I think about it. I saw it all the time growing up, and I see it just as much now. When you're a little passenger princess, you can't help but look around at the world everywhere. Tank test. Tank test. Tankaroo. The macaroon. Macaroon. Poor little guy made me think that he was having pee-pee issues. Because he was being weird about the litter box. But he was still peeing? It was just strange. He peed like twice yesterday, but he went down in the litter box like 10 times. Which, that's 8 more times than you need to pee twice. So he just needed his little butt squeezed. Poor boy. He got a little get well soon package today. We're going to give him some goodies. What am I looking for? There we go. Go Cam. Staring blankly into the application void. This song is for Ringo. Stomp your feet. Oh boy, you've come to grace us with your presence. Look at you. You came out from your Ottoman Empire. Come here, my son. Come hither. Gunther got his chair upgrade because I needed something that wasn't going nert, 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 nert when I was doing my taxes yesterday. It's a big baby boy. Boy, says I claim superiority. I'm perfect in the litter box. I want to put a little chalk shamrock on you. I have hair chalk somewhere. I just don't know where. Last time I used it was for my hair. For Harley and like... It might not be good anymore now that I think about it. Like 2019 C2E2 I think. It's probably not good anymore. I probably need to get more. figurehead. I mean, he got a bigger head. So figurehead is perfect. It's just so common in politics. There has to be a word for the person that is like the pretend person in charge that the public votes for and worships while everyone is working as shadow figures in the background. Like the shadow government. Gunther is the shadow government. In, I have no brain cells tonight. I like this show. What is the name of it? Searching shadow government and Reagan will probably not yield this. Unless I put Netflix in the search query as well. It's on the tip of my tongue. Inside job. Wow, that was so hard to muster the brain cells for. A figurehead. I don't think I've ever heard that word before then. That's fancy. It's special. A nominal leader, a head without real power. That's you. That's you. He's somewhere between like half of that and half the enforcement agency. Because he really does get frustrated with me when I'm later than I should be online. In his opinion. I can do whatever I want. I'm a grown-up for ya. You're not my dad. You're not my dad. I love you. I love you. I love you. His powers and his mighty pathetic meows. You do have such a baby meow. Why is that endearing with him? Like that he has such a like a little girly meow. But it was so not upsetting, but like really when Ringo was barking like a golden retriever versus a real dog. Like Goldens are real dogs, but a real dog bark for his dogness. Ringo went through another growth spurt. I'm so curious how much he weighs now because I was looking at him in the yard earlier and he doesn't look like a dog anymore or even a horse. He looks like a bear. Looks like a bear. It's just big. I love him so much. Alright, let's scoot in with Peebs. It's a Miss Peebs. Mr. Gunther. And update the board too. Do do do. Do 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 do. That was perfect musical timing. Gunther, you're so worldly in that chair. That chair's gonna get so fluffy. I should have put a blanket on it. But he likes it like that. I don't know how to do it. Can't go changing up on him. He's the emperor, for Christ's sakes. Emperor Gunther. Cheers.
I am chilly. I would like a little jacket. A big floofy jacket. And
his powers and his mighty beaks. He's such a baby meow. Threes and E's and speak are so kind to my dyslexia. I think I'm correct. Yes, I'm correct. We are now almost halfway to our next TNR goal. Guys are wonderful. Thank you so much, Sidian. Thank you so much, the Unconfined. You wonderful human beings. In this corner, sleeping through it all, Gunther, the Never TV. It's not a wrestling bell, but close
Close
enough.
enough.
Close
Close
enough.
enough.
Did I leave it? Ah!
Okay, so it's not just me misclicking, which I thought it was before. So far with this computer, every other set of Windows updates, which I didn't want it to update, and it did anyway, and that's a problem for my brain in another phase of life. But every other update so far has, one, done something I'm used to, and two, done something I'm not used to. One, it will change my mic and my audio sources, so I have to like manually put them back. Two, everything in OBS takes 2 clicks. Every other update. Makes me want to poke OBS's eyeballs out. I did click mute off. Thank you for letting me know. Or mute on. It just didn't go. It said, I know better than you, Serena. You didn't mean to click me off. Yes, I did, bitch. Not too much late. Crunchy man. Oh, I can't leave the music on. Well, I can, but we're not going to. Boy, peace and quiet. The Gunther WWE experience. You're so handsome. So yeah, I gotta go to the doctor tomorrow because I got naked eyeballs. Yes, you do. You gotta go see Doc tomorrow. Doot, doot, doot. He's probably just gonna give us ointment, which you'll let me put on. Oh, your skin is so skinny. Like, not thin, but... Oh, you don't have fluffy eyes. I'm sorry, buddy. It's okay. It's okay. Oh, that was such a weird feeling. Gunther's been so mouthy today, like, so talkative. I think whatever tooth he got pulled was hurting him. Oh, yeah, show off your teeth, baby. You are a wild man. Yes, you are the guard kitty. You're the National Guard kitty. He's a baby boy. He's a little less drooly, too. I think that tooth was really bugging him. Feel bad. Poor guy. I mean, ideally, they should have dentals every 6 months, but that's one, expensive, but that's not the point, but that's also the point. And two, I don't like the idea of putting everyone under, or especially the FIV boys, to have them go under and go sleeping 2 times in each year. It makes me so nervous. Boya lets me brush his teeth. Tried to brush Gunther's teeth before. There's a pen on my finger. We gotta start trying it again. Maybe he'll get over it. Hi, PB. That's awfully brave. Yes, I got you things today. I got you things today. I got you things today. I did. I did. I will get the things. Well, one thing you got the other day, it was just airing out. But you got more things today. Yeah, be a good little monkey, PB. You're going to step on you. I had to untangle these. PB got some new springs today. That one untangled itself. We got a long boy, a skinny long boy, and 3 little fat boys. They're all tangled together. And I know they're like almost all the same color, but I don't think she cares. Baby peeps. Oh, she just wants to rub on the tripod. She missed you guys. She missed you guys. Peeps. There's too much new all at once. Baby. Peepers. Oh, PB, you may just be a member of the zoo. It's like those weird hairless cats, but just in one spot. Yes! I've never pet a hairless cat. I have a gal pal who lives up in Michigan, and she has a Sphinx. And they're really cool. Never had a Sphinx cat, though. I've never even touched one. Actually, I'm surprised now that I think about it that no one brought any of them in for baths, or there wasn't any locally at the shop I used to work at. They had one Chinese hairless crested come in, and that was interesting. That's a funny looking dog. They're cute. Actually, the lady had 2. She had one that has hair, and one that didn't have hair. And the one that didn't have hair was so adorable and got the funniest little like face and feet trim. It looked just like the one in the 101 Dalmatians. I think I got an illegal Disney copyright paper. Now that I'm thinking of 101 Dalmatians. Let me see if I can pull this up. I know it was in 102 Dalmatians. No, what the fuck, phone? 102 Dalmatians. Hairless dog. They look just like this little fucker. They're so funny looking. They're so funny looking. We love them. They're so funny looking. Miss Peebs. You're adorable. I got a new collar for what's his name? Tiger. What's his name? And the insert for it with instructions. I got him a vibrate and beep collar. So kind of like an e-collar, but not like the zing portion of it like Ringo and Diesel have. I'm going to use that in conjecture with the Baskerville muzzle for next introduction to cats. But the insert for the inside had one of the 101 Dalmatian puppies on it. I swear to God. Are the puppies not trademarked? Is there so many of them that they did not trademark them? It is my new query in life. Did you get you some milkies? How about you check this out? Oh, he's upside down. There's this creepy little eyeball. And his little ear. She just wants to rub on it. You're silly. You're silly. 102 Dalmatians is basically the same as 101 Dalmatians, but the puppies have to rescue the parents instead of the parents rescuing the puppies. From what I remember. I don't watch the movie every day. They might have fallen into free domain. I will not be reporting the company if so, but I'm a bit fascinated by it. That makes sense though. I mean, there are a lot of puppies. There is a lot of puppies, PB. Let's get Trimlaco, see if she wants to check out the tunnel now that it's not, whoa, Jesus. Doesn't smell like plastic anymore, and Mom sprayed it down with disinfectant. Yes, yes. A super spy had to be smart, quiet, quick with his hands and feet. There's this thing I want to get for George. He is going to love it. Sometimes super spies had to go undercover. Great. See you then. He'd only been a super spy for 2 minutes. Double O Monkey already had his first spy mission. Find out what the man with the yellow hat was going to get him. But he had to make sure he wouldn't be seen. When did I push the button? Oh, it's in my room. Hello, hi. Hello. Stinky bowl. Stinky bowl. Bye, on. Sight. Was complicated. Hi, how you doing? What? George? Oh my God. Well, yeah. Tons. Ooh. I'll be right there. I'm sorry, Mommy. Do you have this in stock? I would not recommend. That sounds like Sharky. She must have escaped again. I would not recommend. Nope. Nope. It's a Dalmatian. It's an exact Dalmatian. I guess it does have a zappy feature. I don't know how to use that part of the remote though. Oh, you switch it over. Dalmatian. That's one of the 101 Dalmatians. I think I have a figurine of that exact one. Are you going to go in the tunnel? Do you not care about it being halfway? Here, let's get your mock on then. We'll pop it out more. Maybe the spots are different and that's the loophole. That would be funny if so. Hi, Stinky. Do you want the goods? Or are you just excited about the toys? Say, oh yeah, I want the meat flavored milk. Do you? He's the one. Good girl. And you gotta eat it slower. She's greedy. She's a greedy girl. There's two. I passed by Pippi in the hallway and she said, oh, I do hope Cyogenics is feeling better. I hope you have gotten some rest and fluids and some relief. Some relief from the sickies. Because there's probiotic mixed into it. I don't know if it's actually meat, but it smells beefy. I don't know what the ingredients for that is. I just give it. But that's the only way I can get the probiotic into her is in the milk. Two more. Two more. Hey, thank you for the follow and thank you for the kicks. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the cult. It is whatever you want it to be, baby. It is a choose your own adventure. Thank you for taking the time to be here tonight. Thank you very much. Thank you for helping support the Stream the Dream project. Good job. Good job, little gremlin. Oh, she's such a little hamster. I love her. I love her so much. She's so cute. She's so cute. Just chilling with my... Do we even call her a foster kitty anymore? I guess until she gets her next round of shots. Chilling with my foster kitty. Thank you so much. Peebee, you got 50 kicks sent your way. Say no way. Say no way. How did that happen? Chilling like a villain on a PURRSDAY. Hope the week's been kind to you so far. Put this reminder on my screen. There we go. Oh, I thank you. Oh, I thank you. Look good, do good, feel good. It's the goal in life, right? Here, let's open up your tunnel. Are you ready? I'm gonna try and keep it from exploding. I don't want it to flip out and scare her. I do want to cut off these strings, though. I don't want her to chew on them. It's the ugliest cat tunnel ever, and she's going to love it. You're so easily spookable. It's catfish. It's supposed to be a cat, but to me it looks like a catfish. It's ugly. Hopefully she will like it. Don't have any subs yet? I just don't have a sub count on my screen. There is within my... Here's some scissors. Pinned. Thank you so much for the gifted. Aw, Botrix deserves it. Botrix is a man of the world. Thank you so much. Thank you for supporting the Stream of Dreams project. Thank you for being the awesome human that you are. Thank you, thank you. Get the strings off of here. Are you going to tack my toes? You tack the toes? Oh my goodness. This one. Tunnels get ruined before we can even entertain the concept of rolling them back up anyway. Thank you so much. I will have you on the board when we get back into the stream room. Merci beaucoup. Aw, PB, you spoiled bean. She's in the tunnel now. She's so cute and silly. This thing is so ugly. Yes, rescue content for the win. For the world. For the world. What do you think, PB? What do you think? Like I always say, no free butts, and we're at the ass of the tunnel. What are you doing, little explorer? Is you facing the other side? Hello, look at you. She looks like a little Disney fairy creature. Do catfish even have butts? Questions for all time. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how fish poop. I would assume that they poop, and I would assume that they have something like a butt that poops, but honestly, I do not know. I know they don't have cattails, though. They only put this tail here so you don't call it a catfish. This one is plush, though. The one in the last tunnel was, like, totally flat. They changed it up a little bit. Do I need to be worried about you dropping off kittens on my doorstep, woe man? You got this big new tunnel and you just want to play with the corner of my jacket. Okay. You're looking for other kitty content. It's all over there. It's all over there. Well, I will not say no to more subs for the Stream the Dreams project. We hit our first TNR goal, and now we are on our second. I have our first TNR scheduled for the 18th of this month. Oh, but I can do so much more on the OF. Here I am but a limited mortal. There I am an effervescent being. I like how she's playing the most passive keep away. Peekaboo. You can go through the legs, Peavy. What's you doing? That wasn't nice, but I can't help it. Come here. Oh, she's purring. She's happy. She's purring. She's so happy. Subs can push the limit? No. Yes, exactly. Subs can push the limit? No. It's not worth $5 to break TOS. Y'all are funny. Thank you for the kicks, though. Bloop, 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 bloop. You can go in that part. Yes? No? Maybe so? So what you're saying is they should have just gotten you this instead of the tunnel. I think she'll be having fun with it. I'll hear her flying around in it tonight. Beba Pabes. She's like, what'd you pinch my butt for? For why, Mom? For why? For why? Peekaboo. You can go in the leg. She's gonna figure it out. She's gonna do it. No, she's not. Look, Phoebe. You can do it. You're big and brave and strong. Need lights in here for you. It's a dark tunnel. The dark tunnel. She's overstimulated. She's silly. She's purring so big. She's so happy with herself. I was gonna scoop you up and love you. You left me. You left me. Now you're a chair gremlin. I'm gonna sit on you, Phoebe. Just kidding. She's under the chair. Really, it's we who need the light. She can probably just see just fine. Hey, baby. What are you doing? What are you doing? She's fast as fuck today. Well, she's fast as fuck every day, but she's been zooming all day today. Itch, screech. I feel like she got big and proportionate overnight. Like, sometime this week, I just woke up and she's average. Which is good, but it's so confusing. Beavers! I just thought about a Tank. Oh no, Tank had a tunnel before. He had the Kong one, the light up one. He didn't really care about it. That's why the big zoo got it. I was thinking for a moment maybe Tank would enjoy a tunnel with his little streetness. Oh, I almost cried when I was bringing him home today. We had a little emotional moment together. We were driving down my block so we could flip around and like park and back to the alley. And I had the windows open a little bit because it was kind of nice. And I pointed and I'm like, Tank, do you smell that house? That's the house that you came to me from, that you were hiding under the bushes that night that I have the video of him trotting across the street to me. Then I was showing him my neighbor's house, my neighbor's other house, and the other neighbor's house. He used to hide in those bushes. Do you remember? Do you remember the home smells? Ah! She'd just be running. And Tank was just wide-eyed looking at everything. Like, he was also coming out of sedation, so he was a little, but he was just looking around like, I think I do know this place. What is it? What's going on here? It was so silly. It was so cute. I got a little weepy in my eyes going by the brown house that he trotted across the street to me from. The one that's on the corner. I think you hid over there and you chose me. If anyone ever needs bottled serotonin available in any emergency, it's that clip. Tank. Trotting his little self across the street. Silly goose. We can get the tunnel. I feel so bad that he had to be sedated for today, though. But there's no way to manipulate. Ow, that's my ankle. You ankle biter? What, are you a puppy? You're an ankle biter. You're an ankle biter. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. He had to be sedated because his little hips, they couldn't position him properly without feeling a little ow. Poor guy. And he still has the caution may bite sticker on his paper. So I think he was a little nibbly today. He was a nibbly guy. He is unhinged. Oh my god. Keepers, we love you. I've been looking for more teeth because I'm insane. I haven't found more teeth yet. But in total, I have 4 of her teeth so far. Which is crazy. 2 side teeth and 2 back teeth, but no canines yet. I'm amazed. I went to find all the teeths. All the teeths. All the teeths. Where'd you go? Oh, you're so silly. You're so distant. Did you do big drinkies earlier? Did I replace your water bottle? No. And you need drinkies. I'm gonna put this in the fridge and grab her a little waba. Need to run up to PetSmart tomorrow. I need more cans for Tigra. He's been eating Ringo's cans of wet food because Tiger won't eat his food regular without wet food in it. He's conning me. He's got me wrapped around his little paw. He just looks at his food like I'm stupid if I don't put wet food in it. Oh, Peeves, I dropped your other new toy that we've been saving. Where did it go? It ran way far. Oh no. Oh no, there's like 3 more of them under here. Girlfriend. Girlfriend. Whoop. It went that way. I have 2 of the pre-folded Chinese handcuffs that I'm saving for when we lose the other ones. And you got your springs today. You're so spoiled. Oh. Hi. I'm so proud of her for being so brave in that. Where are you going? Go in the arm. You can do it. Can they see it all the way straight through? Like from one to the other? Oh yeah. So why won't you do it? Because she's a baby. She's a baby. Beebs. Now you gotta learn spatial differentiation. You're supposed to run through the tunnel for the thing. PB is a well-rounded thinker. It'd actually be nicer if she had one like the boys have that has like a hole in the middle. I could put the toy through that. It would be very nice. Whoop. Oh, careful, sis. These Louise. Okay, let's put this over here. This over here. You smushed up your acorn. You're crazy, woman. You're crazy. Oh, you got it. You're so brave and tough. You're so brave and tough. But you're on the other. You're wasting energy. There's that. You gotta look through for it. Oh my god. You don't know how to cat. There you go. You can. Oh my goodness. Good job. You can do it. You're so smart. Are your nails long? You keep catching on that. Easy. You're too zazzed up right now to do your nails. Can you calm down for a minute? Calm. Calm. And I feel like I just did your nails. Hey, sweet sissy. You wanna come on over? I'm nervous. Try to get our next round of shots. And the 17th, that one's a heavy hitter too. That's her babies. I think you're gonna be a little down and out for that one, kiddo. Need to come here. She may or may not tolerate this. It's play mode. It's playtime. Nope, PB. I don't think you're gonna let me do that right now. She's too zazzed up. That was very optimistic. Oh shoot, actually I should have done Tank's nails earlier while he was still kind of floating. You're so cute. Do you like the tunnel? This ugly little catfish stuff, but we love him. Reminds me of the Ugly Dolls. They were popular in the times of MySpace. They're literally called Ugly Dolls. They're just ugly dolls. Just funny looking. Oh, this photo's so old. It's so old. The Ugly Dolls. Phoebe isn't meant to be your future name. I'm thinking Java. You said Java, not Java. But she does kind of look Jabba the Hutt. She has like the stripes pattern that would be like his rolls. And those big eyes that like seem to fill up the full face because her head is small. Your little Java burst. Oh my goodness. Java the honey. I do like honey in my coffee. Only if it's milky coffee though, otherwise it's weird. That was something I thought would be totally gross. It's quite good. It's very quite good. Big little biscuit. Java. Java, Java, Java. You did it! She birthed herself out of the armhole. I am so proud of her. She's growing up so fast. So fast. So fast. Aww. I just feel like she finally looks proportionate. Her legs and body have pretty much caught up. Her head is just still so small. I wonder if that's an indicator that she'll just be a smaller sized cat. Hi. She's probably in the same boat as Ringo, though. Like Marbles versus Charlie. Charlie is small compared to Marbles. Marbles is a big build kitty. I wonder if it's similar to Ringo, though, to where like she had such a disadvantaged start at life that everything else kind of had to catch up. I wonder how old you were when you got in here. Yeah, your nails are long, unless Tank did that. It might be Tank. There's a bruise there. Tank tends to leave bruises with his scratches. Tank sure was surprised this morning when he went to the doctor. He thought he was going to get early morning snacks, but no. But no. Oh, Peebs. You're very cute. Minus the tiny head, I can't help but think that she would be what Tank looked like as a baby. With more white sploots, but still. She ended up being named Java. She would have to be best friends with Lil Slug. So Big Slug and Lil Slug would be besties. Guarantee she'll be best friends with Little Kid the Cat. Everyone's best friends with Little Kid the Cat. Even Tigra, even though he wanted to be a little bit too curious about him. I learned today I need to be very, very extra careful when introducing him to the cats further. He's gonna have his collar on, he's gonna have his muzzle on, but he's fast. He just moves with such a calm demeanor that I didn't think he had that much zoom in him, and he chased a bunny in the yard earlier and almost jumped the fence. No faster than I could holler. Him and the rabbit went shooting all the way across half the yard. Got to the side of the fence that's kind of janky because it's just poles and chicken wire instead of actual full fence. And I hollered as soon as he was like up. The rabbit didn't even go under the fence. The rabbit leapt over the fence. And he was about to too. And it was very nerve-wracking. But he could move. Like, wow. He doesn't like to play fetch, so I haven't seen him, like, run yet. And he moves so goofy and derpy, but, like, intentioned in the house. And, no, he's got some zooms. Some big zooms. Like, he could probably chase anything down if he wanted to. Just hopefully he won't want to. I really do think he'll be fine with the cats. I just want to be horribly, overly cautious. But, oh, the boy chases bunnies. Where did you go? I want to smooch you. Hi, Tunnel Trouble. Instead of the tunnel of love, it's the tunnel of trouble. Alright, peeps. You're gonna be chilling like a villain with your new little tunnely. And go see Mr. Tank. Go see Mr. Tank. He got a goodie bag that I want to give him goodies from because he's spoiled. Holy floof. Floof, floof, floof. I love you, peeps. You're very cute and sillies. Very cute and sillies. I love her so much. I love her. I just want to keep her safe. And Ty, we love you too. We love you too. He's a good boy. He's a good boy. He's the best boy. You could be a free roamer, but you're still hyper fixating on PB. Yes. He's like, wait, is this worth getting up for? I don't know. You decide. I got them the cutest snackies earlier. Actually, let me take down the gate for a minute. They're adorable. So I know he's a short hair dog. He's not a fluffy dog. But he has very, like, tramp vibes. Lady and the Tramp. We're just all on Disney puppies tonight. Leave her be. Leave her be. That doesn't concern me too much, but I just don't want him to do it. Floors are very muddy right now. It's been rainy. Hi. Come on. Good job. Good job. Hello. Hello. He doesn't look like he has a lot of zooms in him, but he sure does have a lot of zooms in him. I found, look how cute these are. They're actual Disney cookies. My vet's wife is a Disney lady. She loves Disney. She's one of those. Like, not just loves Disney, but is like a Disney park person. Like, it's, I don't know how to describe that non-offensively, but I don't mean it offensively. But it's spaghettis and meatballs with Lady and the Tramp. And he really does have a trampy vibe. He has that look to him. I think it's the big snoot. But they were loving these earlier. We found a jerky that he likes that's not beef. Because this one's chicken. Even though it's spaghetti and meatballs, and that would traditionally be beef. This one's chicken. Welcome, game. Hope you're having a good night so far. Welcome to the Muddy Buddy Zone. Featuring spaghetti and meatballs chicken jerky. And they're so cute. He has such a trampy vibe. You have that face about you. Even though you look like a completely different puppy. You have that face about you. You do. You sit. Oh, do you want to show off your mad skills to everyone? There you go. Show off your mad skills. Tiger has a Z-pack because he has an intestinal infection. He doesn't have worms, thankfully, but he has an intestinal infection. Go place. Good boy. Sit. You want to head to the mark. Place. Place. Sit. Wait. 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 Oh, he's such a good boy. He doesn't know how to lay down. I gotta teach him how to lay down. We're still working on that one. It's awkward. Wait. Pippi. Poor Pippi. She's blind, deaf, and dumb. You're blind, deaf, and dumb. After that. Place. Pippi, I'm trying to give it to you. She just can't see. Okay, free. Good boy. Sit. Good boy. Can you give me some paw? Some paw? Some paw? Some paw? Oh, thank you. And I really want you to learn to lay down. That would be good. Down. He's like, no, I'll give you paw again. You're confused. You're confused, sonny boy. Here, you can have one more. One more. Just because you're a really good boy. Just because you're a really good boy. We'll go place. 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 Sit. Wait. Wait. Stay. He's kind of like Pippi, where he thinks if he does all of the tricks at once. Nope. You have to be able to stay while I'm distracted. Place. Place. Sit. Wait. Wait. Thinks if he does everything at once, he doesn't have to do any more. You gotta stay. Place. I know, it's a little different. I think this is only the second time he's done this while I'm distracted. It's just not bad. Sit. Sit. If you want to, Pippi, I just like to make an example. Sit. And then paw, and then lay down. Like, she doesn't even wait for you to take the paw. She just lays down. Your vision is really bad tonight. Do you have eye boogies or something? It's like worse than the last couple of days. You're really zazzed up. Okay, you're a good boy. He's a good weight. And free. Good boy. Good boy. I'm trying to break it in half. Just a little bit of spaghetti and meatballs. There you go. Ow! That didn't fall on my foot, but his foot stomped on my foot. Ow! You wouldn't think it would be that bad, but when 70 pounds of dog stomps on your foot, it's painful. Oh, why does that hurt more than when people step on your foot? I guess because we balance our weight differently, or like more mindfully. That's gonna leave a bruise. I'm trying not to scream. Not scream at you, just scream in pain. That was horrible. The worst part is like when you're already in pain, and then you're so hypersensitive extra to other pain. I feel like this should only hurt like half as much as it does. You stomped on my foot. Say, oopsies. I didn't mean to, Mom. I'm gonna get out of the kitchen now. I don't mean to cause any trouble. You didn't do anything wrong. It wasn't your fault. You just knocked over the drill. It wasn't your fault. You don't know the drill yet. That's why you knocked over the drill. It wasn't your fault. It probably would have hurt more if the drill fell on my foot, though, so I can't be upset about that. Howser. I gotta wear heels in a couple weeks, buddy. We can't be stomping on no toes. Yowzer. Yowzer. My roller skates are out. Although I might want to try to replace them. Like look at Goodwill or something. And because I forgot that Loki chewed the side of them when she was a puppy. And unless I can kind of fix it with tape, it's going to look stupid. I've also spilled coffee down these, but I forgot they got puppy chewed. It's what happens here. I was testing if my roller skates put me at the same height as my heels the other night, and they do. It is exact. Like I can skateboard myself around if I'm on one heel and one skate. It's probably not very safe. Buddy, why did we do that? It's not cool. Just exposure therapy. You're too nervous about the world. There. Just let it be. Do you want to wear the roller skates? You don't need any more Zoom ability to get to the bunnies. No, you don't. Pippi, we finished snacks. We finished. We finished. Oh, you're a sweet boy. You're a sweet boy. Yes, you are. Oh, yes, you are. Oh, yes, you are. Oh, you're a handsome man. Gotta schnuff the armpits. Gotta schnuff the pits. Oh, my goodness. I have like 4 different outfit selections put together for Roller Harley, too, which I don't know which one I'll end up going with. I think Yeehaw Harley is going to go to C2E2. It's a little bit more safe for work. And then Roller Harley for where I have more space to move around and be creative for Exotica. Exciting. Tank got a little care package today. It's like, get well soon. Get well soon. I'm gonna grab my coffee and we'll bop down with the boy. Ty, you're in charge. If Piggy's in charge. No one's in charge. I don't know. Someone / no one is in charge. That's what you're trying me out. That's what you're trying me out. I love both of you. I don't know if Pibby wants to go in with him, and I'm gonna put up the gate for him. Boy, has such a tiny crunch in the hand. Come on. Here you go, room. You gonna go with brother? Okay. Maybe you're just a sandlot piece. Come on. Thank you. Hey, little stinker. Alright, you guys are all good. Peeps, pups, Kimtons, the boys. The boys. I think I'm gonna end up having to paint the Nerf gun instead of the tape though, because it's been humid in here, and it's gonna be humid around so many mouth breathers, which that's just going out in public. And the tape is starting to peel off. So I'm gonna have to paint it. The tape was a good idea though. It didn't work out. So it will just be painted. To Mr. Tank. Tank. Mr. Baby Tank. The sweet little boy. Oh, Mr. Tank. Tank. Mr. Baby Tank. Oh, tripod into the door. That was abrasive. Oh, that's how you did that. I gotta drop this and figure this. Shit. Now I know how your evil deeds have unfolded. Oh my god. I came downstairs this morning to shattered glass all over the floor. They had pulled something off of here, and I couldn't figure out how. And I'm assuming it's Slavka doing it, because Slavka is Slavka. The strawberry little toy that's hanging on the door was just tangled in the camera cord. And I bet that's how it did that. I have seen how your evil deeds unfold. I have seen it. You've seen the methods to your madness. I know what you do. I know what you do. It might have been Void, to be fair. Void plays with it too, but good lord. Good lord, Slavka. You're a wild beast. You're a wild beast. Was it you, Void? Void a Rooney Roo.
She says, whoa, I got scooped. Did you do that? You're looking at that like you did that. I'm so proud of her. She wants down, but to accept up is amazing. Like thinking, I don't know, the first like 3 months that I had her, maybe even longer, to do anything handling her, I'd have to scruff her. I felt so bad about, but that was the only way to handle her. And now she's just so sweet and nice and kind. Mr. Munster, old man. Mr. Man. How you doing, buddy? How you doing, little friend? Munster hasn't been feeling too great the last couple days. He'll bounce back, he always does. He makes me think he's gonna die and then he lives forever. You will, you are immortal. You are the immortal kitten. Little skinny bones Jones. What do you have in your hair? What did Slavka get on you? Slavka, you get blamed for everything. Isn't that supposed to be like the firstborn's job? Not the secondborn, or the lastborn. The baby is supposed to get away with everything. Instead, Slavka gets blamed for everything. Hello, Mr. Tank. I got your goodie bag. I got your goodie bag. Oh my goodness. Why did you bring a kibble into my bed? There is a smushed kibble where I was napping earlier. I think he brought a kibble in bed. I rolled over on it. Oh, Mr. Tank. I love that for you. I love that for you. Void is such a pretty girl. She's almost exactly the same, like, shape and softness and demeanor as my cat Bunny when I was younger. She feels just like her. She feels like an Angora rabbit. She's so soft. She's got the mama vibes. She doesn't need a bikini. Now she's fluffy. Fluffy. She's much less nipply. But, tripod. Here we go. I'm not the strongest girl today. God, I'm not your strongest soldier. We got mousy and things. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Now she's more fluffy. It's hard to see that she's so nipply. But you rubber belly and girl got teats. Not tits, but teats. Oh, there's a purr pop. Tank, do you want the purr pop? Actually, now that I fought tooth and nail with this to get it lower, I wanted higher. Blurp. Blurp. It's a purr pop. It's a purr pop. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Chicky Licks. That sounds like a porn company. This is being a stigmatic. Oh, little Tanky meow. We rarely hear you do more than meh, Tank. You did a little baby meow. What's a purr pop? You've never had a purr pop before. So you gonna do like Gunther did? Or was it Voya? It was one of them that did the how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pop? 1, 2, 3. What's that? Oh, it's good. It's good. This is like the perfect ASMR moment. I have a plan, Tank. I have a plan. Mom's not good at ASMR, so you have to help. He's so polite. That's the stick. Here, Club Cult is giving it to you. He looks so derpy.
That is true. A lot of pet items and brands are just a whisper away from triple X stuff. Yeah. Temptations. Chicky Licks. Purely. Well, I guess fancy. Well, I mean, you could have a Fancy Feast triple X, but. Oh, Tank, you're stealing it from me. Club Cult is giving it to you. So it'd actually be a cute, like, sub-redemption. Give the cat a treat, literally. I really like those Furbo cams, too. Oh, you got a big bite. Oh, my goodness. The ones that spew treats out. I put some of them on the zoo's wish list, but I don't think I've linked it anywhere yet because I'm still building it. Oh, he ate it all. Yeah, ate it all. You can't eat the stick, too. You can't eat the stick, too. But that would be fun, to be able to shoot treats out at them for the camera. Every last drop. Every last bite. Every last morsel of anything. Oh my goodness. Okay, I think it's empty now, Tank. Derpy but very happy. Oh, he is a happy boy. Munster is grumpy. Munster senses someone else is getting snacks other than him. Munster! You can have some snacks in a minute. Munster! Oh, you know that's Marbles. Is she being a fat girl? Or is she upsetty? Hold on, Tank. We interrupt this feast. Marble Ann. Oh no, she's just talking to her baby. One of her mouse toys is her baby, and she carries it around like a weirdo. And sometimes she talks to it. So right now she's in the cat tunnel, just meowing at her toy. Because that's her baby. I don't know. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Also, welcome, Mad Topher. I hope the week has been kind to you. Happy PURRSDAY. Okay, you can have one more, Tank, out of your treat bag because you don't want to overdo it. So which one? A Temptations. Some. Oh, I got these for Void after the kittens were born. This was our push present. Natural hand selected chicken treats that will be selected by my hand. Or, oh, what's this? Is it a jerky? It's a chewy stick, like jerky. Is it for dental? Or is it just, it's just a meat stick. It's not like a greenies, like for a dog. You got a mousy too, Tank. When he got his care package, they were like, is he gonna be upset about a pink toy? Like, I don't think he cares. Marbles, tell your baby. She's teaching her baby arithmetic right now, apparently. I don't know. Nope. Mousy. Yeah, he doesn't care if it's pink. Oh my god, Marbles. Welcome, William. Doesn't have to make sense, is Cat. She just sounds so frantic when she's talking to her baby. That's the same cry she does when there is unfamiliar fire or smoke. So a candle, incense, me burning mushrooms on the stove. Not burning them, but cooking them good, you know? It's the same meow as her I'm talking to my baby meow. It sounds very frantic. Which one? Maybe Tank wants to choose. Which one looks the most interesting? What is your choice? Are you choosing the Temptations? There's this. There's this. There's this. And there's this. Oh, the meat stick is a top contender now. Which one? 1, 2, or 3? He's like, I don't know, Mom. Open them all. Open them all. Which one? Oh, I just lost my balance. That was scary. Were you going to catch me, Tank? He's like, fuck no. I was ready to run. Which one? It is? It is? Or it is? Choice. 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 He doesn't have any kind of like pointing indicator. He's not that well trained. I don't know how we're going to decide which one he chooses, but I have faith. Which one? Which one looks good, buddy? Oh, I can still pet your butt. Post-sedation tank is also nice in the way that you can do full body pets. You just got to be the most careful on his right side. He sure does know the temptations. That was his first choice, and now he's overwhelmed with all the choices. He has to go and think about it. He has to have an internal monologue about what is the best treat choice. Or take a bath. Hank, you did me a scare today. I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad you're okay. Which one? Do I just want the love, Mom? Butt pets. Butt pets. Butt pets. Such a special treat. That's my special treat. Aw, Tank's letting me have my treat, and then he can have his treat. Gentle. Gentle. Good boy. You have the biggest purr. The biggest purr that ever purred. Yes, you do. You're standing on the chicken one. Does that mean you want the chicken one, or does that just happen to be where you're rubbing around? Let's see if he holds the spot. Hold door. Hold the door. Hold treat. Hold the treat. I guess chicken is the passive choice so far. You have 10 seconds to change your mind, Tank. 10. 10 Mississippi. 9 Mississippi. 8 Mississippi. 7 Mississippi. 6 Mississippi. 5 Mississippi. 4 Mississippi. 3 Mississippi. 2 Mississippi. 1 Mississippi. Okay, you chose the chicken. Can't change your mind now. This is really cool, though. I don't think the boys got these in their post-dental packages. That must be something new. They always have something new there. It's nice. I like it. I like it. It treats up. Chicken! This one is messy, if I remember correctly, but that's okay. You're worth it. I'd make a million messes for you, Tank. I love when packages open like this. You rip it one way, and it doesn't open. You rip it the other way, and it still doesn't open. It's so fucking stupid. Like, what, do you want to be a 3D object? A chicken. No, you don't eat the plastic part of it. You don't eat the plastic. I'm debating between tuna or Popeyes for kitty trapping night. I don't know which one I want to put out. Something stinky. Probably Popeyes. Maybe a mix of Popeyes and tuna. Tank, I think Club Cult wants to give you a treat. Can you turn around? Chicken. Some good chicken. Some good chicken. There's some juice in the package, too. Well, I'm just going to squeeze it into your food, then. Juicy. Juicy. You gonna eat that one? I love his little snorty smell. You sound like a fat kid rearing up for cake. Yeah, ate that awful fast. Tank, you're so beautiful. His googly eye was so googly after sedation earlier, too. It was so funny. I felt bad. I couldn't stop laughing at him. He was just looking around at the world with big pupils, like... It was so funny. Hi, Goofy. I'm glad you're okay. I scared the daylights out of your mama today. You did. You did. And it's always when I'm doing something important that the zoo ends up having an issue. So, like, I did my taxes, and then I felt horrible
when I realized that he was indeed being funky. I've had extra cameras on him for the last 3 days because he was acting a little bit weird. Hi. But last night, oh God, around like 3 a.m., it became super apparent that like, oh God, we got called to vet in the morning. And I felt so bad. I could have been down here just doing nothing, spending time with you, giving you all my love, giving you all the affections and attentions, and no, I was doing my taxes like a selfish bitch. Like a selfish bitch. I'm gonna throw these away because the chicken packet is stinky. It just smells very chickeny. It's pungent. Excuse me, Mama. Excuse me, secondary mamas. Void and Slavka, no treats, and they are sitting outside of the door, begging. They are begging. I almost left the alarm clock on for you, Tank. Oh my goodness, that would have been not nice. Were you a good boy today? Did you bite anyone today? I forgot to ask, so we're just gonna assume no. You smell so good. Whatever, like a deodorizer that my vet's office uses, I want to use for my own perfume. It smells so good. Whenever they have to go in and stay for a day, they always come back out smelling so good. Like, I love how you smell regular, but you smell fancy. Fancy. Tank, I want you to take me out to a nice restaurant with that cologne on. He's like, what? I don't have a wallet. What do I do? How do you want me to do that, Mom? What if we just take a bath together? Get a, you know, a cheap little motel. Take a little bubble bath. I know, they're starving. They're starving. The dry food everywhere just isn't enough. It doesn't sustain them despite there being 30 million bowls of it everywhere. It has been 0.2 seconds since our last treat, and we are frantic. I love cats, they're idiots. If I do your taxes, you'll hang out with Tank while you do them. Win-win. No, I don't want to do more taxes. I hate doing taxes, and honestly, and I know you're not being serious, or at least I'm pretty sure you're not. I don't think I could do someone else's taxes. I am really good at doing mine, but I don't think I would know how to blurb everything out. One for like normal work stuff, like W-2s versus 1099s, and I would have no idea what to put for write-offs for you. Like, it would be just as much work for you to put everything together for me to just plug and chug, because I use TurboTax. Then I couldn't do that. I don't think I could do anyone else's taxes. Or at least very good. I struggle enough with mine. I only had about 3 mental breakdowns last night. Last year I remembered this, and this year I very much remembered this also, is if I do my taxes in the middle of the night, or if I reach the point where I'm confused in my taxes in the middle of the night because something is new or different or whatever, I can't call my dad then. Which was stinky. I had to do a lot of Googling last night for one thing to figure it out. Tanks is in a super tank pose. Welcome, Midnight Dynamite. Hope you're having a good night so far. Aw, Tanky, you get a smooch. Now this is Tank. Mr. Tank. I think I goofed on my taxes last night too. Like, not really, but by the time I was finishing, it was like 2:30, and I was done with it. Like, mentally, physically, I was checked out. I was motherfucking the world in my head. And usually I'll finish everything and then wait a couple of days before submitting it in case I remember anything else that I forgot. I did that one year. I forgot like $300 that I made somewhere else, and then forgot to add it as income in the first round of doing them. So instead of amending it, I was just able to add the information within a couple days later. So I woke up in the middle of the night and I'm like, oh shit, you forgot this. You're yucky with your baffy. And I submitted everything last night, which I think is okay. I'm 99% sure I covered all of my bases, but human error does exist, and I should not have submitted it. As soon as I did it, I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why'd you do that? And then I was even more grumpy. Mr. Tank. Mr. Tanky boy.
He just did some ASMR for us. I feel like Tank's an ASMR professional. This little nub tail. I still cannot believe that you don't have your full tail. That's crazy. It makes sense with his tabby coloring, too. Like, the end, about this much that he's missing, should be all black. This poor guy. You've been through so much. Just tell him that when we got home. Like, you used to fight for your meals and for your life and for everything out in the world. And now you have a crazy lady that takes you to the vet at 8 o'clock in the morning and makes you stay in a box to be monitored and just drops $500 on you like it's nothing. Like, wow, what a life. What a life you live, Tank. You used to just have to fend for yourself, and now you have a crazy lady spending crazy people money. You're spoiled. I love that for you. I don't think he enjoyed very much being in the hospital today, but it's a good feeling inside to know that I can provide for him. He's a good man. He's a good man. We need more men like you, Tank. Maybe not to look at me all googly-eyed, because then I'll think that you're, like, side-eyeing me all the time, but Tank, if I could, like, magically Disney magic turn you into a person, you'd be my man. You're a good boy. He's a good boy. Just sitting there with just enough idea of what's going on to partake. He's just bummed. He got a little get well package today, and it had 4 snacks in it. He's like, more? And I only gave him 2 of them because I don't want to overdo his tummy. I don't want to overdo his tummy. Tank made me think he had a blockage, and instead he had a case of I can't poop out my butt-itis. So he's good now. He can poop out his butt now. We're proud of him. That's important, good things in life, to be able to poop out of your butt. He is a very tough guy. He's the toughest. I think he'd rather fight for meals than go anywhere at 8 a.m. too. Oh man. I mean, probably. I wasn't excited to wake up early and bring him in, but I'm glad he was able to be taken in. Just, I wonder, like, how he feels about it conceptually in general. Like, obviously he doesn't like going to the vet. No cat does. Well, almost no cats do. But to know that, life used to be, I wonder if animals think that well-roundedly or that deeply. Like, a couple of years ago, life was so hard, and now I have this lady waiting on me hand and foot, and she gives me a timed feeder, and I have constant access to food, and I get all the treats, and all the rubs, and all the love, and God, I should have come inside a lot sooner. Should have come in a lot sooner. St. Southberg, he can't poop out his mouth. He tries, though. Tank eats too fast and then barfs a lot. He tried to poop out of his mouth, but no, not happening. You're a sweet boy. You're a sweet boy. Potty time? Maybe potty time. I'm going to observe them doing potty time. Chauncey was pooping out of his mouth in the start of January when he got sick. Before we got him on anti-nausea meds. It was terrible. It was brutal. I knew from that first vomit that he was sick because it smelled exactly like when Snoop was sick, and Snoop had spleen cancer. Spleen and pancreatic cancer. He had it in both of his major organs, like huge amounts. But I knew from that moment that he was sick. And I was just hoping that I was wrong, but I knew. It smelled the same. It was putrid. You did a good job, buddy. You did a good job. You're being such a weirdo with the litter box the last couple of days. Now you're being all normal today. You're doing so good, my little googly-eyed king. Show everyone your Google eyes. They know they're Mozilla Firefox eyes. They're Microsoft Edge eyes. He is such a handsome boy. He's kind of funny looking, but he's also extremely handsome. Kind of like me. Like, you can look at him and laugh, but also go, "Aw." I love him so much. Tank is super soft now. His fur was kind of like, I don't know, scraggly. maybe like the first 6 months he was here. He is so baby soft now. Tank was a neighborhood street kitty, and I didn't find him. Gunther found him. Tank went into the big bay window that's in the stream room, and Gunther spotted him. And Tank, with his coloring, looks a lot like my cat Little Kid, so I freaked out and I thought Kid was outside. But no, Kid was safe inside. And from that day on, we started offering the food and the goodies for Mr. Tank. I think it was maybe a couple days after Gunther found him that I was able to start feeding him like a little bit closer. And I noticed that he was in really, really bad shape. He had scratches and marks all around his face. He had horrible, like little bits of scar tissue around his neck, super big cheeks, super big balls, and just the worst coat condition and posture. A sweet boy. He was run down from his years of being on the streets. He is at least, well, let's see, Tank, you came in July of 2024, so you've been here almost 2 years now. So he's probably about 8 or 9, somewhere around there. My neighbors had seen him around the neighborhood a few blocks over with a cat he was bonded with, who unfortunately passed away. That's what I've been told. I didn't know any of those things. I wasn't there to witness it. You got your mousy over there? Look at your little mousy. But I was told that he'd been running around the neighborhood for about 6 years. I didn't even name him. The neighbors that used to take care of him and see him called him Tank and Big Daddy. So I'm thinking he had a lot of the neighborhood babies because a lot of the neighborhood cats do look like him. Oops. He's like, I didn't do it, it wasn't me. Do a DNA test. But Tank chose me. I was actually had a trap out for Tank, trying to get him in so that I could get him proper medical care because he was in really bad shape. And he chose to walk into the house, which will baffle me till the day I die. I cannot believe that he just walked in. Tank wasn't fully feral, although I thought that he was. He's what I would consider like 50% feral, so feeder-friendly feral. So he started off pretty not nice, understandably, but he loves his food. The way to his heart is through the food. It's through the food. He's probably seen many battles. I'm sure he had to defend his girlfriend's honor from a lot of other male tomcats and probably got beat up by a few side bitches along the way. At some point, I think he got hit by a car. We did x-rays on his hips, and one of his legs is kind of floaty, but it's too healed and too late from him having that injury to be able to reset it. It would have to be rebroken, and it would be way more pain for him than it would be worth in the long run, especially with him being a little bit of an older guy. He's seasoned. And he's amazing. He's in such good health now. He's also a little fat right now. We're working on that. Oh my goodness. Uh-oh. Cat's been mulling downstairs at night. You typically find her looking out or near the sliding door, and it makes you wonder, is there something living under your deck? If so, is it something that I can or should bring in? It's probably a possum. Be worth it to put up like a little trail cam and try to see, though. That would be interesting. Tank's just staring down his new pink mouse. And I don't know what that thought process is. Yeah, I didn't think it would be worth it to cause the extra pain. I talked to my vet about it, and he offered to give us like a referral to a specialist. But you did explain the process of like it's so weird. It's so fucked up and it healed so bad, and I feel so bad for him. Like every step must be pretty uncomfortable. That's what I would assume. I don't know. If my leg was floating inside of my hip like that, I think I would feel it. But to fix it, it would most likely have to be rebroken and then reset and recasted, and I don't think he would tolerate any of that anyway. It wouldn't feel good, and it wouldn't be in his best mindful interest. I mean, you guys saw how happy he was when he was an avocado, so imagine like a leg wrap. That wouldn't be great. Tomcats do be fighting. That's why you gotta spay and neuter your pets. Because when they have balls, they have balls. They're crazy. The crazy babies. You are the tank, Midnight Dynamite. Oh my goodness. Tank, do you have a people version of you in chat? Do you? Do you? Do you? He looks like he's just being a calm guy in the background, but really he's just waiting for more treats. He wants a squeezy treat on his lick mat. He's hankering. The tankering is hankering. The tankering is hankering. Tank, you're a very sweet man. What's the opposite of cross-eyed? His eyes are going like this right now. His pupils. Like, they're not like this. They're like this. Is that just the way you're looking at me? Oh, it's just the way he was looking down. They looked like that. They're not actually doing that. Like, are you okay? Are you okay, son? Or is one pupil bigger than the other? A little bit. Oh, come on. I just panicked 24 hours ago. Not even. Don't make me panic again. That might be a residual effect from the sedation, though. That's possible. You're also being calm and waiting for more treats. Good boy. Good boy. Are you cockeyed, Tank? He is a little goofy-eyed. He has one eye that kind of like smushes down more than the other. I would assume that's just from like scar tissue like that. But I really thought he was looking out like reptile style. But no. I do think one pupil is a slightly bit bigger than the other, though. Why? Come here. Let Club Colt take a look. And let me just look closer in general. Mr. Tank. What's going on with your Googles? Sometimes you just need a different perspective. Oh, that's not gonna help though. You're in the light. You are blinking that one more in the light. One is bigger than the other in his droopy eye. I am supporting him with all of his weight on his front, by the way, when I lift him up like this so he doesn't have to lean on his back legs. Mr. Tank! Turn around one more time. Let me take a picture of that. When it happens just at random, often it's a sign of like a neurological issue. Hi. You let me take a picture? Say no, that's okay, Mom. Here, take a picture of this. Turns around and shows me his ass. Tank. Tank. Oh my god, it is. Look. If that doesn't go back to normal by morning, you're going in with Gunther. He looks so funny. But like, uh-oh. 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 Goofy boy. Either the sedation is still wearing off and that's making him googly. Like the time the ace hit him too hard. His eyes were two different pupils and it was insane. So it could be that he's extra sensitive to sedation. Although I don't remember that before, but I also don't think I've stared deeply into his eyes before when he's been out and under. Tank, I think you've only been under twice. Because you had your neuter and you had your teeth cleaning. I think that's it. So to be fair, there's not many other times to have observed, but that's weird. That's a little scary. Tank just really wants me to nap in with him in the morning. That's what it is. He says, you don't need to be with those other boys. You're on your computer enough with those other boys. Not you guys. Voya and Gunther and Zeke. Says, you don't need to be up there with them. You need to be down here with me. Tank, why is your eye like that? It's actually like a very serious thing to like be mindful of. with cats because it can indicate like they have a stroke or they're having neurological issues or many other problems. And that's a little bit scary. But you're also a bitey man and you just ate treats and you're acting normal otherwise, so I don't think it's necessary to run him up to emergency for it right now, even though I kind of want to, but that's also crazy brain Serena talking. If they are still like that in the morning, then we have to go back to the doctor, sir. Ah, he's like, don't worry about it, Mom. It's nothing. It's nothing. Do your pupils change when you get a tension headache? Muscle relaxers will make them, what, pin, not dilate? Dilate is big. I don't know what the opposite of dilate is when they get super small. Maybe Tank is also neurodivergent like us. That wouldn't change his pupil shape, though. But probably. I love when he itches his face. He makes such a stupid face. And then he kicks his jowls around. Bath time, bath time. I think he still is under some level of sedation. Usually he's not so comfortable. Like, he'll lean up into the couch to groom himself like that, so he's supporting his hips more. He's gonna fall over. I think he is still feeling the sedation a bit. He just really wants his snacks. I mean, it's not something to be obsessive and like crazy over, but I see so many posts on like cat subreddits of, what should I do? My cat's pupils are different shapes, and everyone in the comments freaks out and is like, go to the emergency vet now. Go to your vet in the morning. So I'm not taking it too lightly. I'd rather overreact than underreact. Overreacting is expensive, but underreacting means that you maybe don't get them in your life as long as you would like to, so I'd rather overreact. You want your snacks. You're just looking at me and hankering. Tankering is hankering. They match. Good. I mean, cats are so weird, too. I feel like it's, I don't know, more nerve-wracking to overreact with dogs because they tend to show their issues. Some breeds really don't, but other breeds are very hypersensitive. And they're like, oh my god, Mom, there's one kibble missing from my bowl. It's the end of the world. But cats like to hide their issues, too. I should have ran blood work on you today, Tank. Not that that would really make a difference, but we just did it back in October, but I guess that was like 6 months ago. You are blinking that one a little bit more. I don't know. Do you have a bad tooth? I would assume that they looked in your mouth. I don't think you're going to let me look in your mouth. Let's get your snacky. Third breakfast time. Overreacting with cats is not necessarily a bad thing at all. Because they hide their issues and act like everything's normal. Like when Voya had his blockage and his UTI, other than being weird about the litter box or having not used the litter box for like almost 24 hours, he showed no other signs or symptoms. None whatsoever. If I hadn't got that, he'd be gone. I got a compliment on my lick mat today too. The vet tech that was originally in line for PB. It's like, oh, that's such a good idea. I'm gonna do that with my cats. Like, yes. It is the best. I feel bad I got him like a wintry snowflake one. We gotta get one for every season. Oh, we're not going in your crate. There you go. Good job. It's your collection of snack wrappers from earlier. Tank is a true gamer boy. He leaves all of his snack wrappers out. Just kidding. I'll let them out. Hello, Slavushka Maruska. Mr. Tanky, you're going to enjoy your snacky. Some more Tank Smar. And then I want to play some games. It's so good. Is it so good? Yes, yes. Oh, to be as happy as a tank with a lick mat. I think he finds it a bit maddening that I can't eat things faster, but he seems so thrilled by the adventure. Hey, Mr. Tank. You gotta keep an eye on your eyes. Keep our eyes on the prize and our eyes on the eyes. That's so weird. Don't scare me like that, Tank. Don't. Don't. That's just insane. I thought I was being crazy for a minute, but they really are not dramatically, but definitively two different shapes, two different sizes. He loves his food. He's my little fat man. Needs to be a little less chunky, but he will always be my little fat man. My sweet boy. It's just, I say this all the time, but it's so amazing to me that he's as nice as he is and he's as sweet as he is. Like, Tank is the very definition of allowing yourself to be rescued. Hi, boy. I took a dipper. Holy creaky door. It's very humid out. Hi, sissy girl. Void wants to say hi to everybody. Blurp, blurp, blurp. Void with the titties, though. The kitty with the titties. Or is that your sissy? Is that your sis? Is that your adopted daughter? Don't sniff ass. That's, well, I mean, you can, but like, do it in your own time. Do it in your own time. Charlie. Charlie says, I'll sniff ass whenever I want. Thank you very much. Oh my goodness. You're such a baby goose. Charlie, don't grump. Come here, Miss Void. Hi, Mama. Hi, Mama. That's your Slavka. She's such a big rumble. I never thought you'd turn into such a social girl. You're a big sweetie. You're a very big sweetie. She still freaks out when she sees stranger people, aka not me. She still runs from my dad, but otherwise she's completely well adjusted. She's just taken Chauncey's place. No men, no kids. That's the new rule. Oh, I did bring my coffee and then I left it out here. I love you, Stinkies. Try not to wrap the strawberry around the cord again, please. I would appreciate that. Thank you. I think I got either a tank or a void floof in my eye. That does not feel great. Now I'm making tank face. Now I have the wonky eye. Oh my goodness. I still can't get over how cute these are for the puppies. Spaghetti and meatballs. It's adorable. You're so cute. You're so cute. Drop us in the stream room. Voya can grace you with the sound of his meows. And bop into some Doom. Some pre-torture night Doom. Or maybe some Star Wars. And maybe we'll save Doom for tomorrow. I don't know. I'll think about it while I'm defloofing my eyeball. That's quite a feeling. I still don't know if this was Tank or Peebee. It might have been from Tank earlier. Maybe it was from Peebs. Ah, the smooches. They're so spoiled. The spoiled babies. The spoiled babies. Boy, I can't see. I'm blinking at you. I know, buddy boy. Love puppies. I have to keep the gate up for Tiger until I'm 100% sure that he won't chase Petey's little feet under the door. I don't think he would, but until I know 100% what he will or won't do, no chances taken. Floofy eyeballs are such an oddly uncomfortable sensation. Yeah, because they got you, like, tweaking out at life. Worth such sacrifice they are. I had a whole feathering of Foof. I don't even know how that happened. It was an experience. When I turned on the PlayStation earlier, I scrolled over to check sound, and I landed on Star Wars. And maybe, I don't know, maybe I want Star Wars tonight. I don't remember where we left off. Excuse me. And maybe we'll save Doom for tomorrow. Tomorrow we can give, I think... Or did I completely miss a week? No, tomorrow's 2 weeks post-neuter. Tomorrow Tiger can have a bath. And then we can wash the shelter off of him. I know, I'm disgusting. That was quite a belch. It was quite a belch. Those I don't think of as burps. It's more like a lurch. It's just a lurch of, I don't know, stomach acid and gas. It's not really even a burp. It's not burpy enough to be a full-fledged burp. It's a glurp. It's a yerp. It's not a blep, though. Gunther is the king of bleps. The executive over here in his Oval Office. Connect to the... What? You are connected to the internet, you dumb cunt. Yeah, that's right. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Bitch. What the fuck? I'm gonna pop this open over here. We haven't played any Star Wars in a while. We have not. A basket full of kisses. Fulfilling my flower girl hopes and dreams. That's where Eeyore went. I couldn't find Eeyore when I was half-ass making the bed and he's face down on the ottoman. Eeyore! Oh, Wilbur. I'm still kind of sad that Wilbur wasn't the right adoptive fit for Pippi. I love old men. I loved the idea of meeting a 10-year-old bupper. But he was so energetic. He would have been too much for Pippi. He would have been great with the other boys, but not what Pippi needed. I think I'm going to be sad about that for a while, though. Because that's just me. Let's do it. I forgot, since we have a functioning computer now, we can play SWTOR. I keep remembering that. Oh. Do we maybe want to bop around with some SWTOR? Maybe. Just maybe. I don't know. I don't know. It makes me sad too. The 10-year-old dog, Wilbur, I guess he was adopted from, it's like an even sadder story. I guess he was adopted from CACC. The dog's 10 years old. He got loose once a couple years ago, and they were able to get him back to his person through his microchip, and then this time they called and they just didn't answer. Which is sad. I don't know. There's also one of the dogs I saw when I was looking through, Beyonce. When I was there, I think she was there for about 2 weeks. And then when I was there, her owners were actually coming in to claim her. So maybe that's one of the last places that people look, and hopefully
they'll realize, oh, the dog isn't in the yard or something, and scoop him up and bring him back home. I'm really hoping for that. Some good old Swator. I think I want... I want both, but I'm more excited at the idea of Swator. I was initially excited by this, but now apparently the grass is greener on the other side. How do I want to set any of this up? Makes me sad for him too. I get sad for all of the shelter animals. It's like you didn't do anything to deserve to be there. We domesticated you all. It is our job to keep you all happy and healthy and safe and in good standing. And yet, you are not. Because there's not enough people for all the animals in the world, which sucks. It sucks. Star Wars, the Armed Republic. I think you used to be able to play it online without a download. We'll see. Play now will take me to a download screen. Oh, do I even know my old login? I think you have to download it now. It doesn't look like you can play through web anymore. Yeah, download it now. Ugh! That happened with Wizards 101 too. You used to be able to play it right through the browser, and then they stopped supporting that. Install. See how long it'll take to install. Next. I accept the terms of the license agreement. Might be selling you my firstborn child, but you never know. It's an older game. It shouldn't be very chunky. Less than a minute. Okay, perfect. Ever since the Activision screen popped up in your feed, I feel like you need to be one of the Tony Hawk games. Your Pro Skater 3 and 4 since Doomslayers. Then is he? I've never played any of the Tony Hawks. I figured I can't even skateboard IRL, let alone in public. I have no idea what my account would have been. Where'd it go? Oh, it relaunched on the other screen. Very doubtful this would be saved somewhere. This is many years ago. Probably like on my first iPhone. If it was even saved anywhere in here. Nothing for Star Wars. Swatter. Nope. Nope. I have no idea this would be. Let's make an account. How do I do that? Don't have an account? Play free now. Make an account. Okay. The first stream spheres I came into, maybe even the very first, you were on that. You jumped into it for that reason. No shit. It's awesome. It's amazing. Display name. Serena TV. And if it's taken, then we put Serena TV sucks. Oh, I wonder if I can put in recover password. No, I don't even know what email it would be under. Tony Hawk Pro Skater games are legitimately wildly beneficial for your mental health. Keep playing them then. We never yuck someone else's yum. That's how Wizards feels for me. Insta serotonin. Parallel world type gaming. I like that. Country. The US of A. November 23rd. Oh my god, wake the fuck up. 1993. 1993. Sure. Wait, is this what I would have had an EA account for, maybe? Password is invalid. So what's wrong with it? You're one of those. Okay. MFC levels of security. Registration failed because the username provided was invalid or unavailable. Okay, that's probably my old account then. Serena TV sucks! Oh, the hoops that one jumps through for some Star Wars. Account created! Please check your email for instructions on completing your registration. After validating your email address, you can download and play Star Wars The Old Republic for free. Let's go! It should be EA. Pretty sure it was a BioWare game. When did it originally launch? I first heard of it and played it, I think, in like 2016 or 17. I don't think it was at the forefront of the world then. But I'm curious how old it actually is. If anyone knows, otherwise I can just Google it. I have that power. Sweater. Sweater. Oh. Did I already put that category prematurely? Like getting excited, thinking? I guess so. Oh. I saw it when it dropped down in categories and I got excited. That's what inspired me. Simply verify your email address by clicking here. Okay. Verify account. Success. Account email address verified successfully. Good girl, computer. Good job, computer. Just... Now I'm never gonna remember what my password is. That's okay. Can I do? No, not like that. I don't know if that'll work. No. From 2011? Dang! She is a classic. That's not working. I don't know if I want music right now. Just do this. No, not that. Not that. This. Not that. Oh my god, do I know what I'm doing? No. I'll crop and put this proper in a moment once I figure out how it's going to orient itself. From 2011. See, I should have been playing this in the year of 2011 instead of being a little degen. I would have much more streaming street cred by now. Congratulations. You fucked yourself. Downloading. 44 gig remaining. I think that's gonna take a while. I didn't consider... I always forget that online games have like a second download process. Not just the installation, but the download process. Voya is judging. He is judging. He is judging. As long as I don't play an online game in the background with it, it shouldn't scuff. My internet is pretty good, thankfully. Okay, well, the other Star Wars, well, this downloads then, I guess. Well then, at least I didn't turn off the PlayStation. If it does go wonky, if someone can let me know, please. Otherwise, I think it'll be okay. I've ran downloads in the background many times while streaming before. It kind of like overworks the computer a little bit. Definitely couldn't do that on my old laptop, but it should be okay. As long as it's not an online game also, then it's too much. Too much, but this is old enough. Happy. Happy, happy. Okay, one more category swap. Maybe Torture Night tomorrow will be some SWTOR. Then I'm going to be really confused going back into it. I didn't play it enough when I did play it to truly understand everything about it. I didn't get very far. I was not committed to being the best worst gamer. I just wanted to be a good gamer then, and that doesn't work now that I'm committed to being the best worst gamer. I have adjusted expectations that translate properly into my gameplay. However, I did not put enough time and effort into that one when I was playing it, so it's going to be like a whole brand new experience, and it's been so long. Jedi! It's Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, yes. Not Jedi Outcast. No. No. Okay, that's correct. And plug this in. And swaps categories over here. Because I'm lazy, I could just run to my bedroom and I don't want to. Nope, nope, nope. Is there no music on the intro screen? That's awkward. Boop, 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 boop. That was too fun. Oh, that's loud. The boop was much more gentle. It's been almost a year since we've played. See, is that like a sign of me having brain damage, or is that a sign of this being a good game? Because to me it feels like we just played it last month. Oh wait, not in 2024. The timing has to be fucked up on this then. Because we didn't last... Did we last play in 2024? Has it been 2 years? I feel like I've opened that since then. I didn't open the game that I wanted to. I wanted Republic Commando. That's why it's been 2 years. Oh my god. It's been a while since we played this too, but not 2 years. Between 3 Star Wars games, I'll figure out which one I want. This one, because we're going Commando. This one doesn't go online either, though. So it's okay. It's been a very, very long week. It's been a very long week. Like, wait a second. That's not the opening screen that I thought I was getting into. Serena, you try. That's what matters. The Republic Commando. When would you last play this? I predict like last September. I think I remember playing it after the babies were born. September, June, what's the difference? What's the difference? It's all about the same weather anyway. One month you just get apples and... Star Wars collection is upping your nerd level. It's upping my bouncing around level. Did not know where I was. Wait, October is our most recent? No, they have European date format. There's no 16th month of the year. That is correct. The infiltration of the core. Dun 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 dun. 37 gig remaining. Where did I leave myself here? Oh no. They don't go down. They're less damaging, but they don't go down as fast as Doom guys. They're Legos. I forgot what any of the controls are. Doesn't tell me anything.
Affirmative.
Oh. As per usual, she grenades herself. Oh, I couldn't figure out before what that flipped through. I have no idea what those are, but there's something. Sabotage storage rack controls. Okay. You're moving so slow, I'm not used to that. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, friend. This makes me feel like I've been playing Doom in like 3x speed. And this is in like 50% speed. It's weird. Is this where we're... these computers? I don't think you have anything to offer me here, sir. I'm stuck. You got stuck, Step Bros. Oh, you're a thing. Stop getting stuck. Oh, crap. How did we do that? Not that. Oh, press and hold X. My head, you play all the sci-fi shooters, shit, and sci-fi equals nerd. So I'm probably invariably going to tease. Boom! Invariably going to tease you because I'm dumb anti-jock greaseball who plays jock keeps and shit. Honestly, I wish I could play or enjoy sports games, and I just can't. I'm bad at them. I'm bad at everything, but I'm particularly uncoordinated in those. How do we crouch? I'm assuming we go through here. That's jump. That's a slicey hand. Just keep pointlessly reloading that. I don't remember how to crouch. Would it be like L3? No, that's... oh. Up, up, and away. Up, up, and away. Never played The Last of Us. Never played GTA. Oh. You look like you're in trouble, my friends. It's, dare I say, electric over here in this room. Are they gonna come out and come alive again? Oh, this was like the bane of my existence. It's not good. No tac-tac, though? They're just having a mentee be like me earlier. It makes me nervous. I don't... oh. So, did I need to wake you up? Or did I just choose to wake you up and make mistakes? I might have chosen to wake him up and made mistakes. I think I'm gonna die, but I'm not really quite sure what I'm doing in this moment. I don't know where I left myself off at. That is critical. Okay. But learning process. Standard. Never played GTA. I vaguely remember watching someone play it at a Super Bowl party when I was little. Like, still this height, but a younger age. It's like, I don't know, somewhere between ages 10 and 12, but I've never actually played it. Oh, that's cool. How did you get to do that? Was that like a convention or something? It's very nifty. I mean, I think that's the way. There's no other way out of here. Whee! Whee!
We did a number on this ship.
Oh, maybe I do need to shoot through them and then go past them. No, there's nothing behind you guys. Can I just leave them? Oh, but there is another. What did I do to press grenade? That's not nade, that's low light mode. That's jump. That's slashy. That's reload. What did I press for it? I've already got a space to avoid the battle. Oh no, now that I triggered more. I'm putting myself into a corner. I may be dooming myself by taking time for this. Did he hit me at the same time or did I boom my... I think both. We're explosive tonight. Streaming on YouTube and stuff, so you wound up in a session, you're able to guide him through and what was his mansion and such. That's awesome. I know very little about The Last of Us. I've heard good things about it. 3-month subs can suggest a game. You guys get that privilege.
We really did a number on this ship.
What is grenade? Default is cute. No, on PlayStation. There's no cute on my PlayStation except for me. I am the question. He first showed up in the online portion of the game in the mansion update. Full circle moment. That's hilarious. The shoulder buttons. L1, R1? Huh? L1 to switch and R1 to throw. Okay. All those games we play, the story characters show us how to do things. Like a telltale, a guided adventure. Went online to show a literal story protagonist how to do things. Mind-blowing. Legit amazing. That is pretty cool. Dang. Dang. 26 gig. Offer your mercenary type services. I'm more of a solo gamer girly anyway. I don't do well playing on a team. I enjoy Counter-Strike, but it makes me shit my britches for that reason. I cannot be held accountable with others that I know. I just cannot. That doesn't do it. Do I just have no grenades then? It says I should have 5 of those. Just gonna press? No, that's low light mode. I know I threw one accidentally because I blew myself up. Is it possible they're still retiming themselves? Like, I suppose. I suppose. Oh no, there's another one coming out of there. That's nuking my health. Shit! Stop! Guys! Guys! Simultaneously heal and get destroyed. Oh, no. Open. Open sesame. Oh no, if I hit more behind him, it's gonna wake him up. It's not good. No! No close range rockets. None. None of that. No. We agree on that one, sir. No. Oh my god, there's one and I'm gonna die. Ah! What did I bring myself into here? Your girl needs health and grenades. Nope. Heal. 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 Heal more healies. Heal more healies. Oh my god. It's too much, my friend. Does switch the... Oh, it's a left throw. And now I wasted it. No! Don't wake up! No. Bad. Naughty. It does have to retime itself. It is L1. Silly goose. That was worth potentially dying for multiple times. I'm done. I'm cooked. I got one on my left. Oh god. Get healing. Heal. Thank you. You're still crawling? Get! You forking butthole. That was so rude. Absolutely unnecessary conduct. End up waking up one of your friends, and I don't want to do that. Boom. This is nerve-wracking. You are such a butt for that. Only pistole. Oh gosh. Is your top half still alive? I don't know. It's not worth finding out. What's the word for it when you're both participating in something but like completely separately? Rockets. I have 0 brain cells tonight. It's been a long day. There's a word for it. The parallel play. Like if someone's watching a show and you're reading a book in the same room. Like you're together but not like actively hanging out. That's what I consider my online gaming experience. While they're over there, I should try and bomb the door. Maybe. There's only 3 seconds left on the kit. Stop doing that when you're close to it! Stop! Stop. Stop. Because you've done that twice now. You need to remember to move back. I like bebopping around in between games, but it bites my ass just a tiny bit. Mentally and egotistically, that I don't remember all of the tiny little details in between games. Parallel play is the word. Not necessarily a busy day, just a really long and stressful day because Tank was at the vet. And I did my taxes last night. So that was pretty exhausting. I went and did labs today for myself, so that's what we can blame it on. I'm all drained of all my blood. That's why I have no brain cells left. My head is a little scattered because when my computer updated and I didn't give it permission to, it closed all of my tabs that I had open of Chauncey stuff, and I wasn't ready to close those yet. So I'm kind of off balance from that. It's just been a long week. Not really a long day. There's nothing special about today that was much different than other days feelings-wise, but it's been like no break from that all week. We're in a bit of trouble here. Grenade! Fuck, how did I do that? There. It's been done. You did it. Okay. Okay, I figured out. It's L1, L2. Not R1, or L1, R1. It's other ways. I'm gonna die. Oh god, that flew back at me. I'm not good at grenades. Grenades are not my strong suit. I did get a refund and a reality check. I got both. One of them I wanted, the refund. The other one I did not want. My only advice for all of you is don't ever get sick. Ever. Just don't. Don't ever do it. I mean, W refund, yeah. It paid for my TurboTax. You know what was so dumb, though? It charges you an extra $40 if, you wanted to pay it out of your refund versus just taking it off of your card or your bank account. So I paid it through my bank, and I'm just going to wait for the refund to come back and essentially refund me. Then there'll be like a spare $100 there. I got a tiny refund. That's nice. Most years I don't get refund. Last year and this year, since I've gotten sicker and sicker and sicker, I've gotten refunds. I thought the other guy spawned on the other side, but maybe I hit him with a stray bullet. I wish my immune system was a fortress, and I wish chicken soup cured this one. Far away. Do not boom yourself again. Is there one following me from over here? Like, paranoid that there is. I wish. I'm curious if when I go, after finishing these labs, like result-wise, and then when I go back in the beginning of August, if we'll have any idea what an actual diagnosis that could be a pattern of treatment would be. The sound he just made. Yeah, basically it refunded my refund. TurboTax was just shy of $400, and my refund was just shy of $500. So get an extra $100 back. I do all the layers of like the audit protection and all that fun stuff. Because heaven forbid it happens, I know like I can handle it, but I want someone else to handle more of it than I want to. No. I like the way he says no. No. I don't think I'm even hitting him in there. No, it's not. The scope isn't turning red. I need health. I need health. Ah. I wish I didn't need health. I wish I could have seen that. How did we scope in with this? I don't recall. Grenade. Merp. I zapped myself with that one too. Not cool. Not cool. Not cool. Probably just should have thrown another grenade. Now we're too close for comfort. We have enough health for a moment. I want your torso to come back alive. I don't know what I'm sick with. I was misdiagnosed with Crohn's disease for close to 2 years. I got sick symptomatically in the start of 2023, and then more intensely symptomatically to the point that I actually went to the doctor and was like, yo, this is bad, towards the fall of 2023. And then in the spring of 2024, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. And on my last scope, November of last year, it was found that I do not have Crohn's disease, but I've been treated for Crohn's disease, like infusion therapy and whatnot, all up to that point. Right now, we don't know what's wrong with me. I throw up a lot. That's all it comes down to. My body doesn't seem to know how to process or digest food anymore, and I just throw up a lot. It's very strange. I'm in a lot of pain constantly. It's not a good experience. Don't ever get sick. I spend all day getting sick, and it's not fun. It's not fun at all. I had a portion of my intestine removed because they thought that was a necrotic issue, and that didn't fix anything. I've been, I would say, like 5% more functional since I had all of the endometriosis removed, the endometrial surgery. But outside of that, it's really like not anything better. I'm just constantly exhausted. I'm constantly in pain and almost constantly throwing up. Like for years and years and years, my entire career, I used to stream days, not nights, and I can barely stream days anymore. It's very far and few between that I can stream a day, because otherwise I'm balancing being behind taking care of the zoo and getting sick. So if something normally would take like Serena an hour to do, it takes 6 Serena like 4 hours to do, which is, it's been a lot to accept. I'm much more in a place of accepting it at this point, but previously, no. A lot of times I feel like I'm just cosplaying as the old version of me. It's like that scene in Finding Nemo, Full Health, where Marlin says to Nemo, you think you can do these things, Nemo, but you can't. And that's what I feel like a lot of life is now. I hope that one day I can actually be my former self again. I'm tired of pretending that I can cosplay as me, or that version of me, and get by with it, and not make an ass out of myself, and make promises that I can't keep. A lot of the plans and ideas and things that I speculate on, especially on stream too, it makes me feel like an asshole. So I'm like, oh, we should do this, and we could do that, and this is going to happen, and I'd like to do this. And then I like sober up from cosplaying as my former self. And I'm like, well, shit, you can't do all of those things. You can figure out a way to kind of do some version of that. But I need to be more mindful with my mouth on stream, because I talk speculatively about a lot of things that I would like to do that ultimately I simply cannot present, which is humbling. It's very humbling. I would agree, the Mad Topher. Way too young for dealing with all of that. I find it baffling. Like, obviously there's something wrong. Like, seriously wrong if I was well my entire life up until the last 3 years. Unless there's something wrong, you don't just get extremely sick. So I really wish someone would figure that shit out. But I do appreciate now that even though appointments are more staggered with Loyola versus like Northwestern or the private practice that I was dealing with before, now being with Loyola, there's a whole team of people that kind of round table slowly, arduously, slowly, but they'll discuss with other departments and actually consider multiple factors that are contributing to anything. So that part is nice. I expected that from Northwestern. Northwestern was just ass. Not even titties, just ass. It's ass. It is very mentally draining. I've had to come to terms with a lot. A lot that I don't want to. And that's okay. That's a part of life. It's just usually you have to come to terms with things that are smaller than this for a less immediate time span. Didn't really have much time to marinate with this one. I appreciate it though. I don't like to talk about it a lot because it's a buzzkill. And I feel like I'm very good at not looking sick. I mean, some days I do look like absolute shit. I won't deny it. But I'm so good at cosplaying as former Serena that I feel like it's kind of abrupt and confusing when I do bring up being sick. I don't know if that top thing zaps me. I try not to complain. I mean, that's not nice to be around either. And what? Am I just gonna log on every day and say, I don't feel good? No, that's why I don't try to stream days anymore. Because it's also not fun running away from the computer every 2 seconds. Oh, I'm gonna be sick. Oh, oh, oh. I don't know where to go. What's this way? Are you important things? This looks like half of a tanning bed. I'd like to think I'm pretty good at cosplaying at OG Serena. The Serena I would like to be again one day. If the universe will allow it. Oh, I remember these guys. Not from the game, but from the movie. Oh, wait, is that my friend? That is my friend. Sorry. I only have the little pistol. Shit. That went too far for them, I think. I need the health station. We move so slow in this game. It's helpful, but I'd like to run. My buddy's gonna get killed. All because I'm trying to stay alive. It's all my fault. Are the doors closed now? I can't go back to the... Okay, sorry friend. I'll come and heal you. He's really taking it on the comm there. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. I had thoughts and plans and ideas, and they did not well execute. Oh, there's still one more of you. You stinky butt. Okay. Wait, are you behind me? Pew, 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 pew. Heal. Heal. We all deal with different devils at different levels. Nobody's life is perfect. I try to be grateful for everything I can do and are able to do and have the privilege to do. What are you shooting at out there? What's important to shoot at out there? What about over here? Why do I only have the pistol? That's not ideal. That kind of hit me. Oops. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Oh, there's a health station. Heal. 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 Oh, I killed myself. The grenade went too close. Maintain current orders. Recall and revive. Reload. I don't know where it took us back to. I feel like it's pretty buzzkill. Buzz Killington. At 562 megabytes remaining. Oh my god. Let's rendezvous with the squad and then see what the fuck is up. Bloop. I've noticed this in playing Doom recently too. I tend to move myself instead of my trigger scope. I'll move like this to aim. Instead of like this. I mean, I do both, but one is more predominant than the other. I don't know if that's a good gaming trait or something I should correct.
Let me handle this, sir.
Well, you died last time I let you handle it, so...
Nice work, 07.
Take cover. They're coming back.
Get gotted! I'm gonna get dieted.
Next fixer at 6-2 down there.
Health critical. My stamina reload real quick. Or shield? I don't know if that's shield or stamina.
Next Vegas sees this.
We missed your bucket shot. Secondary objective.
I mean, it's not a me issue, but it is a me issue.
Substation somewhere on this level with an elevator that will take you directly to the bridge.
It's just not a fun thing to hear. It's not that it's like a buzzkill per se. I just don't like when people feel bad for me, and I feel like when talking about it... Oh, that's how I scope in. It's like inciting, at the very least, like empathy, if not like sympathy and pity. And I don't like the feeling of being pitied. That's a buzzkill for me. I don't like it. Good job, team. Proud of you boys. Sorry again, I shot at you earlier, 07. Locate the loading substation. More? Yes. He's got his little protective bubble on. How did that survive the... What's it? The grenade. We're full of health. No way. A droid dispenser.
A down charge should shut it down for good.
Okay, I'll get there. The boss is busy. The boss is looting. Oh, what's this? I don't know. Oh, he's marking his last position. Thank you, good boys. I think. Oh, no, he's got it. Okay. That's what it's doing. Not last position, but predictive positions. Boys! Stinky. Oh, well, I'm not a professional boomer. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. He's about to boop his gun on his head. It's another thing too. I feel like it's hard to be like in the circle of someone who's struggling with extreme health issues. It's mentally taxing. Is my teammate glitching the door? That was weird. That was very weird. I think that was a glitch. That looked glitchy. That was confusing. That was very confusing. That is nice to have such a good friendship like that. Oh, come on! I didn't mean to grenade us! Stupid door. It's nice to have people that you can rely on to be who you need in life. I thought you were down. We're not down. I feel like I make it more difficult in that way. Because how I feel about being treated changes on the daily. Some days I want everything to be ignored and I want to be treated like I'm normal, and other days I need the kid gloves. But it's difficult to advocate for the kid gloves because then I feel like a little bitch. Just a whiny little bitch. So then I don't. And then I tough it out and then I don't feel good even more later. It's like emotionally exhausting. I don't like advocating for myself though. It's annoying. I'd rather just do my own thing than like ask someone to treat me a certain way. I'd rather just be alone. It's simpler. Waste less breath.
Let's get to it, Deltas.
Sorry, Scorch. Slice substation terminal. How does one do that? How do you slice a substation terminal? Does it have a cake cutter outer? Where's my guys going? I don't know what you want from me. You're blowing up the bridge? Did I blow up the bridge? What? Do we not go back up there? We go through this door? Did something just explode? It's a CD. It's a CD-ROM. That's what I call the zoo. The island of the misfit toys. I am not just a misfit. I am not just a nitwit. I don't even know if that's the actual words to the song. Oh, I'm stuck.
Why are you standing here, sir?
Why are you standing here, sir? I don't know.
Go. I'll blast him to bits.
I don't know. That's a good question. Why am I standing here, sir? Ah. Because I'm supposed to slash the console. Slash the console. So that's why I'm very difficult to get along with, because I don't like when others advocate for me either. Like, that's what gives me the mental oomph to, like, advocate for myself. Because if someone else starts speaking for me, it's like, hold on, now I got a lot to say. Hold up. I'm difficult. And that's okay. I understand how and why I'm difficult. And I know how to manage it, so it's not dangerous. But I acknowledge I am difficult. It is nice to have the strength to be able to be in the position to do that for others, though. There was a lot when I was taking care of my grandpa that I'd advocate for with his needs. They had him on so many fucking Norcos, and I, like, essentially yelled at the doctor about it. Like, what do you expect to happen? He's falling, and he can't shit. And you're giving him, like, 5 Norcos a day. Why are we treating the problem as, oh, he's having frequent falls. Oh, he's constipated. No, you're giving him, like, 5-6 Norcos a day. I'm on fire. This girl is on fire. Like, he needed pain management, but in a more gentle fashion. Health critical! No! Need a health station. Need to run, not a crouch. I don't think I can get back through the door. Can I? Yes. Sorry, team. I need a refresh. Need a refreshing little spritzer. From the... These always look like, hand sanitizer stations to me. I feel like if anything, I'm too self-aware, and it's like a blessing but a curse.
Moving to cover. I'm ready to go, sir. Unit destroyed.
Thanks for finishing the battle for me, guys. Oh, why'd it go back up? 1.92 gig remaining. We're at... Oh! Megabits before. Come on now. Wait, switch guns. Can I switch back? Oh, we have this. Kinda forgot about that. I just don't want to hit my friends. The big boss be barbecuing. I don't like him. What's his sensitive spot? His eyes? Or shit, he's locking on. The top of his head. Or not the top of his head. His tummy or the top of his head? I don't know which one. I remember before we had to hit him in a certain way. He has very thick armor to shoot your leg off. Oh, no more names. Sheesh! We need to cross streams. I think it's in there I need to shoot. I think that's his sensitive spot, if I remember correctly. It's his belly button. He's smoking and zapping inside. We're getting there. We're getting there. Ah, Swator is down. Which is in. I'm out of nade? No.
They're just letting up to die. Quit the chatter, Delta.
You got it? Yes. Oh, you're already healing him. I thought you were. Anyway. Okay, which one of us then? Jeez Louise. I think I'm at full health. Didn't pay attention if that was a checkpoint. Huh.
Let's go. Go.
He was a bossy boy. I'm pretty sure he was probably a checkpoint. He was bursting through the doors now, or did that close? Oh, I don't know, it just went boom. Okay. Oh, we can manually save in here. I forgot about that. Yes. Yes. Coffee. Coffee. It's an interesting thing to say to people. I mean, it's your perception of honesty, so fair. But it's... I don't know how I would receive that. I think I'm a pretty accepting person. It's good to know oneself, one's flaws, one's quirks, however.
01/138.
Despite what some people think, it's not good to just go through life being ignorant.
You have been born into dangerous times. A sharp mind can be the key to survival.
I am smooth brain.
But as often as
Oh, I can move.
It will be your inherent
Ships.
physical traits that win the day. And in this regard,
Excuse me.
you will be superior to your more common brethren.
What in the dream state?
For you are a commander, an elite unit, something truly special. Your weapons, your armor, and most importantly, your brothers.
Ah, I put Band of Brothers on my list, and I still haven't jumped into
The
it.
author of our world hunt and pause to bring down much.
What did I put us into? I meant to go to the start screen. I don't know what happened there. Let's get a little taste of SWTOR before we go seeps. Play. Let's see how this is gonna load up onto the screen. Hopefully on that screen. Nope. I'm gonna have to reorient this as soon as it loads. I have no volume controls at the moment. I cannot control what it's doing. That's very loud. That was very, very loud. I want it over on this screen. Let's go with Starforge server. Look. Oh no, that's not the one that I was using. Where was it? This isn't how I want it set up, but I have to get into it so I can change the orientation. No, what are you doing? There. Starforge. Or Sateli Shan? Starforge. Starforge for the Star Wars. I can't see any of chat right now either. Where's the settings menu? I need this properly oriented before I want to do those things. Where does any of this go? These good questions. Let's see. How do? I don't like having my games full screen, because then it's awkward to orient into OBS. I don't know. Will it window capture instead of this cap? Oh wait, that doesn't matter because it's up over here. There's a settings menu. Lord. Oh, thank you, Jesus. That's so much better. Now I can see you guys. I am a Star Wars fan. I was raised on Star Wars. My dad's a big Star Wars fan. So now will this capture like... Oh, yes, I want to keep these display settings. Keep changes, yes. Why are you so firm in your choice making, my friend? ultra graphics. It's just a tiny little settings menu. That's rude. It's rude. And you click exactly 80. Okay, 75 is fine. You and your numbers irk with me. Get it a little more comfy sounding. Starforge. Create character. Are we the Galactic Republic or the Sith Empire? I think I played as a good guy last time. Should probably start off learning how to be good so that I can later learn how to be evil. Jedi Consular, Visionaries, Ambassadors, and Seekers of Hidden Wisdom. Jedi Consulars have worked for millennia to promote peace and balance. Wall of courage and fortitude for those they protect, the Guardian stands firm in the face of overwhelming odds and dares opponents to attack. Sage is a healer? Yeah, I don't want to be a healer. I'm not good at being a healer. Defense, melee, and stealth. Oh, she has Serenity in her title. I think we should go with her class. The Jedi Knight. Champions of peace and symbols of hope in the dark times. Jedi Knights stand for the legacy of the Jedi Order. Sages are famed. Famed for their wisdom as much as for their powerful healing and defensive skills. In troubled times, a sage brings together the insight of the past with a raw power to change the flow of galactic events. A smuggler. Quick, clever, and answering to no one, smugglers know that sometimes luck is more important than skill, but it never hurts to have both. True. They're ambushing enemies for their stealth or using advanced medical technology to keep I'm not a healer, no. The operative will do whatever it takes to advance the agenda of the enemies, of their allies. A trooper, an elite soldier of the Republic. I want, like, an outfit like that. I like that, that's sharp. It's very sharp. Not all heroes carry lightsabers, some just have the will to fight.